Well, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of how we can absolutely get demolished in the world of card games. Take a look at some of these hands that led to me inevitably just calling it a day. Really interesting spots. So this first hand really interesting. These are all the hands that I ended up playing. It's going to open. I'm just going to defend because this is just too small of a ring size. We end up calling two streets here, and then by the river, he's going to check to us. And I think this is a really good spot to go for it. I don't end up doing this. I thought that he might have enough ace high here that I'm just going to be beating. And maybe it is a little bit too wide. I really like to be holding a 10 or a jack here. Um, just to try to get something like the 9 to fold, jack 9, jack 10 to fold here by the river. But we end up taking showdown value, and we're not good here against the 9, of course. I'm going to skip over, and I'm just going to get into the big hand that we play. It's not really anything wrong with it. We're just going to see how it ends up shaking out. So we do end up like we're about even stacked here, and we get faced with an open here and a 3-bet. And I thought I took some time with this one. Playing in the big blind, I really could go. I don't think there's really ever a call. I really just have to put another bet out there, and I don't mind jacks going for the cold 4, but I wanted to choose a sizing that we get to play a lot more in position on with this hand. So we do want to invite some more calls than we do jams. And so I chose to just kind of go this just over 2x of that. So we go to 22.4, and I think that leaves him enough room to play the hand out if he continues. And he does elect to call. So here we are. And the reason it's going to give you the equities here is because what ends up happening in this hand, he checks it over to me and I just jam. 45 big blinds in there, and he has 73.2 behind. Couldn't find really an adequate best size, so I'm just going to give him free cards to pull, like the ace queen, the ace jack, the ace king. I don't really want him to see more cards. He's going to have some flush draws here too. There's a lot of things to get value from. Now, it's really good if he does have a flush draw that we have the jack of clubs, because he's going to get there a little less often. So here we are. He does make the call, and we get shown a hand that we are beating, obviously. Here, 29% to our 71. So there's nothing wrong with how we played this. We're going to win just a very large amount of the time. But he does spike it on us, and that's fine. You're going to have that happen. So that same guy, and then is going to kind of be the bane of our existence as we move forward. There are some hands, obviously, that we play, but there's some larger pots that I think that I make moves with, and we just have to. Yeah, this is a really interesting one because we end up stacking this opponent. Now, I know that I said this session goes bad for us. There are some good. That does happen. When you open the 5-6 on the button because we're never limping it when we get folded to. We get the raise from the small blind 9.8. This just definitely is a strong hand to play in position and easy to play on boards, especially one where we flop an open-ended and the spades. He bets 7. I don't exactly remember what he's got behind, and now that it's being blocked, I'd really like to see, but that's fine. We'll just move on because we're going to get to see it here in a minute. So it was 19.6 in there. He bet 7, and he only had 31 behind. I thought with this strong a hand, we just have enough equity. Let's go, and we get some good news here. He's only 31.1 to win this hand against ours. He just has bottom pair with the ace. We turn the 6, we hold, and that's all she wrote for this hand. All right, and this is a hand where we end up going for it in just a bad spot. of course, against what's our today nemesis is this player, Haggy Mike. So we open, get the call from the big blind. It's going to be fairly wide. Checks to us, which is range bet. Continue, we get called. Turn the king. Now, on this board, I really do like to continue. I know that the optimal turn would have been to turn a heart, or some type of straight draw with it. That would have been fantastic. But this king tells us he doesn't have a lot of king X, so we can continue to barrel. We're going to get folds out of some straight draws and ace highs. Choose 3.8 big blind sizing. Was just under half. It was something that I would do with a king. Now that the deuce comes out, he ends up block betting just 1/3 pot. I thought about this and how I played the hand, and I decided that he may be doing some block betting with some missed clubs, missed straight draws, just trying to get the immediate fold. So I just don't believe him too much here. A queen may do some block betting, so I'm just going to go for it. I end up making it 24 to go, and then he just basically attempts to put me all in here, and now we just know that we just don't have the hand, and he has likely some king X. And so we get out of the way. So a little bit of us being aggressive there kind of cost us some money. For this one, this wasn't really a whole lot to say. It was blind versus blind. We flopped top pair, and we called down a small bet on the river, and we weren't good against the ace queen. There wasn't a lot to be said for that one. These are just all the hands that I played. But I want to get around to some of the larger ones that I played. This was a little bit of an interesting one. So we get the open under the gun. 9-10 is good enough to flat on the button, a fold, and a fold. Now, my thought process in here, obviously we flop the open ender, and we are going to continue. We have some backdoor flush draw properties as well. When we get the turn, the 3 of spades, and he bets again. Thinking about this, he is going to have some queen X that he barrels, but I'm also going to have some queen with the queen of clubs. I'm going to have more queen jack than he is. I'm going to have more 2-pair combinations, and I have more sets than he does probably. Well, the sets might be even. I think the sets are even, but I'm going to definitely have some more 2-pair combos than he does. So what I do here, and blocking the spades and the club is interesting because I can have turned combo draws here as well. So I thought, he's going to call with a lot of his flush draw hands, with him now blocking as well. I think that takes out some portion. I don't know if my line of thinking here is that great, but he could also have a lot of ace high. So I end up just kind of taking this as just an aggressive action. I go to 31.2. This just looks super strong. I'm representing all my 2-pair sets here. Because I think that they're just overstabbing out of position, and he does think about it for a while and give us the pot. So that was an interesting one to play. And then we do a lot of folding after this hand, and we're just kind of not really getting a lot to play. And then of course we get this one, which is just kind of the worst possible. And I know you saw it there. So we're kind of grinding up a little bit. And we get dealt the ace king. Of course, the open was great 3-bet candidate in the big blind against the button. We could go to 7. We get called, and we see a really nice flop. The king 7-10. I took a little while with this. I decided that we're just going to fast play top here. You can have some checks here with top. I don't mind it, especially on the rainbow flop. And it being a king 10 board, I think that there's definitely merit for going for like a check raise. But in this one, we just decided I'm c-betting so often that I might as well c-bet with more of a top of my range as well. So we c-bet, fairly large sizing. We get called, which is really what we want to see. turn, great card. We make trips with the top kicker. And I thought about this for a while, and if I was bluffing, like the other hand, I would still continue. There is a lot of turn spades that I now get value from, and there are non-believing queens and jacks that would play just this way, and nines. So I'm just going to go probably more queens, jacks. Very rarely are nines going to call now, but definitely queens and jacks. So I'm going just about half. I just go half pot here on the turn. I don't mind that sizing. I think I just sized just under it actually, but we'll see here. We get the call, and you see a river now. We have 66.2 big blinds in there, 80 behind. I like this just a clear-cut jam. Just trying to get the stack in. We're just trying to own all of the worst king X, non-believing queens and jacks. Occasionally he will have called ace. It's a 3-bet or to the 3-bet on the button. It's very unlikely, but I'm just gonna rip here, and we get shown the bad news. Yeah. A little unfortunate. Nothing really we can do. I think that we played the hand fine. But he does have one of the king combinations that makes the full house and just owns our specific combination that's going to be too high up in range to really do much else. So, yep. So we were done with this session after this. Ended up losing $12 on this one, on the 2-cent, 5-cent through these hands. But that's okay. Sometimes when you play correctly and you play aggressive, you're going to lose some bigger pots, but you're also going to win some bigger pots. So we just take the variance, right? All right. Well, that's enough for me. Probably done for today playing, but more than likely I'll just go on, get back on tomorrow and showcase some more hands, and hopefully we can get this one back. All right. See you guys.